Most contractors are going to come in with a clipboard and a tape measure, and they're gonna take measurements, and they're gonna write a lot of stuff down on their clipboard, and they're gonna get back to you in a week or two, maybe. I've had customers that have told me that they've gotten an estimate, they've had a contractor come in, and weeks later they still don't have the estimate. Yeah, I don't know how that works. On more than one occasion, I have been asked, sometimes in the comment section and sometimes by phone call, how I go about pricing my jobs. It's a funny thing on YouTube because there's a lot of information out there, but I don't think you'll ever find any contractor, whatever he does, whether it be tile or plumbing or concrete work or any type of construction work whatsoever, you're not going to find anybody that's going to, first of all, give out their prices. That's just a no-brainer. Nobody's going to give out prices on YouTube for a lot of different reasons, but the main one is that there's a lot of stuff that goes into pricing out a job. There are facets that every job is different, every job is unique in its own way, and therefore, yeah, it's not going to happen. You're not going to find pricing on YouTube. You're not going to find people that tell you how they price out their job. That's a little bit of a trade secret, I think. With a lot of contractors, they do things, I'm not going to call it nefarious, I'm not going to call it shady. So when I price out jobs, I tend to do things different than most contractors. Duh, I'm Star Tile, I do everything different, it seems like. Other contractors will charge for every little nitpicking thing they possibly can, including materials. Many times I go on a job and my customer says to me, I'm going to be purchasing the materials on my own. And I'm like, duh, of course you are. I don't upcharge for materials. There are contractors out there that upcharge for material, they upcharge for going to pick up something. If they are missing something, they got to make a trip to Home Depot, they're going to charge you for that. They're going to charge you extra for the tile, they're going to extra for everything. Usually I think there's even a percentage that a lot of contractors will mark up 10% or 25% or 30% on the material. And of course I do everything different, so my way of doing an estimate or deciding how much a job is going to cost has to do with a lot of factors that some other contractors don't take into account, and some of them take into account too many things, which I am against. And I'm going to go over those briefly, other contractors specifically, and then the way I do it. So there's basically 5 things that I look at when I'm trying to do an estimate. One of them is distance that I'm going to be traveling back and forth. That matters a lot because ultimately I'm spending time on the freeway, I'm spending time on gas, I'm spending time in traffic, and all of that stuff matters. Second one I look at is the age of the house. The age of the house matters a lot. If you have a 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, even into the 70s sometimes, if you have a house that old, it's going to matter to me because I know the construction method that was used back then. You got lathe, you've got the concrete on the lathe, you know, your walls and your shower are this thick. There's a lot of asbestos. Not I think, this is what I know. There's a lot of asbestos content in older houses. The 2x4s have gotten really hard, especially in the 1940s and 50s type houses. What they used back then was not pine, and over the years it's almost gotten like petrified wood, so it's hard to cut through. I go through a lot of blades. Plus the construction method they use for the plumbing matters. Back then it was iron pipe. Iron pipe was commonly used for both your drain and your supply, and iron pipe is difficult to work with and retrofit into something that's newer. Third thing I look for, number 3, I look for how expensive your car is and how expensive your house is. That matters. I'm kidding. It's a joke. I never look for that. It's irrelevant to me where you live or what you drive. But honestly, the third thing that I look for, that has a lot to do with what I'm doing specifically. Like if I'm only building a shower, if I'm only doing, say, the bathroom floor, and I have to work around the shower that exists already, if I'm only doing a certain thing like putting in a tub or something like that, that matters to me, because then I have to work around and make sure that I don't damage the existing material and make sure that you know, everything's okay. Honestly, you'll get a better deal if I'm doing all-inclusive type of stuff, because I don't do what most contractors do. I don't break down all the different facets of what I'm doing into little pieces and say, well, you're going to get charged this much for that and that much for that. You actually get a better deal because I charge for my time. I don't charge for all those little things. I don't have a little checklist where I'm marking off this, I'm going to do that. Fourth thing I look at is the material I'm working with. The material matters to me because there's a lot of tile out there that I haven't worked with before, or even if I've worked with it before, I know the makeup and I'm familiar with that type of tile. You know, natural stone, for example, meaning marble or granite, I have to be more careful. I have to be more specific with cuts and things like that so I don't waste material. As opposed to, say, a cheaper low-end ceramic, I don't have to worry so much, and that stuff is not going to be easy to set anyway because it's not all the same type of tile the way a rectified tile would be. A porcelain tile still gives me problems sometimes, but that matters to me as well, because if you decide that you want porcelain that's going to be staggered in half, and that's hard to deal with so you don't end up with lippage, that's going to matter to me. It's going to matter to me that you want your porcelain 24 by 12 vertical as opposed to horizontal. That matters. So, and then any border that you have in the shower, that's going to matter. When you hand me the border and I'm having difficulty matching that border up because the border is thinner than the field tile, that matters because there's more prep that I have to do that's involved in it. So the material end definitely matters, you know, and then the design end, and that kind of toenails in with the material, because the design features, if you want a niche, and how big the niche is going to be, if you want 2 niches, if you want 3, I mean, some people want multiple niches, so that takes up time, and of course I charge for the time. The fifth thing that matters to me, and this is kind of incidental, but I must mention it, if you want it done in a hurry, there's a saying in the construction business: you want it done quick, you want it done inexpensive, or you want it done good. You've got to pick one. You will rarely get all 3. But if you're in a hurry to get a job done, you're going to get charged more. I can't think of maybe 1 or 2 examples where I have actually jumped jobs. And when I mean jump jobs, I mean I'm at one place and then I'm jumping to another one on the same day or maybe that same week. I don't do that. I know a lot of contractors make a habit of doing that because they're trying to dip into as many jobs as they can at the same time. I can't do that. So I won't jump jobs, but I will sometimes. I'm able to manipulate my schedule a little bit, maybe bump somebody up a little bit if you need the job done now, but you're going to get charged extra for that because I have to stop what I'm doing and it's inconvenient to my next customer. So that matters. Those 5 things is what I take into account. So those are the 5 things that I look at when I'm giving an estimate. But then again, I do things a lot differently than a lot of contractors do. As a rule, and this is not across the board, every contractor has their own way of doing estimates. As a rule, most contractors will come in with a clipboard and a piece of paper and a pen and a tape measure, and they'll do all kinds of measurements and, you know, this and that has to be done, and they're writing in all the little extras, all the little things that you're going to be doing. They're writing that in. They may have a checklist. They may have, for lack of a better term, like a menu. If you want a niche, it's going to cost you XYZ. If you want this done, it's going to cost you this. It's going to cost you that. So they're adding all that stuff in. And this is important to know, especially with bathroom remodels and bathroom renovations, the way I do with showers and stuff like that. Most contractors out there are going to charge you a demo fee. A lot of times I get potential customers who have told me through an email or phone call that they've already done their own demo. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why you would do the demo first prior to even getting a contractor to do your job. But they're aware that a lot of contractors charge for a demo. I don't have a separate charge for a demo. When I do the job, it's all inclusive. The demo charge alone can range anywhere from $500 to $2,000. Then they're going to charge you for the build back process, and then, as I said, nitpick all those little tiny things. A lot of times I've had also customers who spend some time with a contractor with the tape measure and the clipboard and all that stuff from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and they never get back to the person.
or they get back to the person and the price is outrageous. Sometimes those contractors are subbing some of the work out. They'll sub out the plumbing, they'll sub out the electrical, they'll sub out all the little various aspects, even the sheetrock, even the demo and stuff like that. When a contractor subs things out, he's making money off of that sub. So for example, let's say there's a plumbing issue that has to be addressed. Putting in a shower valve. And he knows plumber because he has them in his pocket. He works with them all the time. The plumber will come in and do the job for his normal rate, which could be $800, $1,500, whatever. And then the contractor himself is going to tack on an extra $400 or $500 onto that price so that he can make money off of the subs. There's a lot of what I consider nefarious pricing that goes on. And again, everybody has their own ability and their own way of doing things. Contractors are free to do what they want to as far as charging you goes. And you're free to not use them. You can shop around all you want for a contractor that's within the price range or the budget that you're looking at. My view on it is this. I have been doing this type of work for 20 years and I know what a job takes in time. So when I'm doing an estimate, and I'm adhering to those 5 things that I told you about. So basically I'm charging you for the time. I'm not charging you because, you know, this issue is sprung up or that issue is sprung up or whatever. Now, having said that, if I get into an issue that I was absolutely totally unaware of and there's no way that I could have deciphered that, i.e. a rotted floor up under the shower or something like that, yes, I'm going to charge a little extra for that. Things that are unknown. But most things are going to be known to me since I know the building construction, I know the year of the house, I know all the issues that you've been having because you've told me that. So I've understood all that stuff, and based on my experience, I can go out to a worst case scenario and say, well, if this is done wrong or whatever, then I've got my work cut out for me. Then I charge you accordingly. That's for time. I'm charging for my time. Now, here's a misunderstanding as far as that goes. Sometimes I give a price on a job and somebody breaks down that time into my daily time stipulation. For example, I give you a price of whatever it is, $4,000, and I tell you that it's going to take me 5 days to do that job. Then you do the breakdown and you say, well, you're charging me $800 a day. Yes and no. I'm not charging you $800 a day per se. I'm charging you for the time that it takes. It could take me 12 hours in one day to do some work. It could take me 3 hours in one day to do the work. But because I know how long it's going to take and I give a 4 to 5 day estimate, right? And I'm charging you, you think that I'm making that $800 off of the day, and I'm not. I'm charging you for my time and my labor. Some of the complications that I get into have to do with plumbing, have to do with things that take me a full day to take care of. So the price structure, if you broke it down by the day, you could theoretically, you could rationalize it and saying, yeah, he's charging me X amount per day. But I'm charging you really based on the skill and my ability to do things, and you are absolutely free to go out and find somebody else. Using that example I used before about the plumber with the sub. So if the plumber comes in, for example, so you say, hey, I'm going to get a plumber to come in and do the plumbing work for me, so don't worry about that, just take that off the price. That's a difficult thing for me to do. That's a difficult thing for me to do. The reason being is because a plumber ordinarily might charge on your particular project, might charge $1,500. If I took $1,500 off of a $3,000 job, for example, then I'm only getting paid $1,500 to do all my tile work. I'm not going to work for that. So you have to understand, my price breakdown is for all-inclusive. I'm doing all the stuff in your house and, you know, whatever you're contracting me to do. If the plumbing was already taken care of and I'm not giving you the estimate for the all-inclusive work, then it's not $3,000. I'm not coming in at $1,500 to do your tile work. I might come in at $2,200 or $2,500, close to that $3,000, but again, I've already charged you for all the plumbing. So it gets a little complicated, and I know I'm not explaining things right as I usually try and explain things right, but I get tangled on the process and all that stuff. But understand something. Again, every contractor has their own way of giving you an estimate, and the breakdown of the pricing structure has a lot to do with other contractors doing the things that I don't do. That's upcharging for your material, that's upcharging for your dump run, which I don't do. Yes, I'm going to charge you for the dump itself, but not because I'm running to the dump. So the way estimates are done is never across the board. What I'm suggesting to you is figure out what your budget is, and shop around for different estimates. Find out if your contractor is subbing the work. Find out if your contractor is going to charge you to do the demo. All those particulars that you need to know as a consumer to find out if you're getting a good price and to find out if you're not getting ripped off. I'm not going to use the term rip off because, again, every contractor has their own way of doing things and you're free to shop around the market. What I'm simply saying is this: whatever the price is, make sure that that contractor adheres to it. One other small little issue I want to talk about is giving physical estimates. There was a time that I would give out physical estimates and I might take up any part of my day, 2, 3, 4 hours giving a physical estimate. Sometimes I would try and consolidate those estimates on a weekend, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, and knock out 2 or 3 estimates and just literally take up my whole day, 12 hours of driving around and talking and do all that I do. Then I started to realize, I think it was maybe 5-6 years ago, gas got up to, it was $4 a gallon here in Atlanta. And when it was $4 a gallon, I started charging for my estimates, which I didn't do prior to that, and that was just to take up for the gas. So I think I was charging $20 to come out and give an estimate, and if you were further out than about an hour, then I would charge more, and that's based on the distance that I have to travel. Going forward from 5-6 years ago when gas dropped back down, I started to realize that a lot of my estimates were not only redundant, but unnecessary. The physical estimates were unnecessary. Most bathroom configurations I've already seen before. So basically all I need is a picture, as if I were standing there. A couple of pictures, you know, side view, front view, you know, whatever you want to show me that needs to be done, that's what I need. Once the pictures are sent to me, then I can have a phone call. I can know what I'm knowing. And again, the material is important. So if you've already picked out your tile, which is ideal, your tile, your shower valve, all that stuff that I'm going to be working with, vanity, toilet, all that stuff I'm going to be working with, and I know all that material, there's really no point in giving a physical estimate. I can write something out for you and send it to you, but physically coming out to your house, spending, you know, 30 or 40 minutes on the freeway and another 30, 40 minutes with you, you know, talking to you, and then another 34 minutes going home. I burned up, you know, 3 hours of my day unnecessarily when all we have to do is discuss it over the phone for about 20 minutes. Because all that stuff I already know. Once I know the year of your house, once I know what you want to do, once I have the pictures, I can pretty much ascertain what my price is going to be. At that point, yeah, we can do the contract, go forward with hiring me, or you have an opportunity at that point to go ahead and look for other estimates if you choose to do so. But the physical estimates I normally try and only do when I have a question. There are certain times where things are too ambiguous for me to kind of figure out through pictures or a phone call, and then I'm like, hey, I need to come there and take a look at things so that I can square things in my mind, make sure that things are the way they're supposed to be. That's when I do physical estimates. But a lot of times I'm doing the pictures and the phone call because, geographically speaking, undesirable. You know, you're 50 miles away or 100 miles away. Sometimes you're out of state. I've worked out of state before. So it's more beneficial, I think, for everybody, unless there's a reason, like I said, for me to meet with you, then yeah, I'm usually doing my estimates over the phone. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe. I make nothing off of YouTube, so please be a Patreon member. I'm gonna post a link down below to my Patreon account, and you can donate $1, $5, $10, $20 a month. Just pledge that on a monthly basis. That will help me produce more videos and content so that you can watch and learn from my channel. And donate at least $50 if you're gonna call. If you're gonna call for advice, donate to my PayPal, please. Donate first, and then feel free to call me or email me for advice. Otherwise, business calls only, please.